everyone, welcome back to another YouTube channel. My name is Caroline. If you are new here, welcome to the fam. I am very happy to have you here today. It is Friday morning to me, and it is very rare that I start a video on Friday morning or Friday, to be honest. But next week, I have a lot of exams and lots of assignments going on, so I need to start this vlog sooner than later so that we can start talking about books. I just finished with my morning classes and I just filmed 3 videos for my TikToks already, so everything has been going great, but I thought I would give you a bit of an introduction to today's video. So we're doing another reading vlog, and I am very excited because this is a very realistic edition of how much can I read per week, especially during final season. I originally wanted to do a reading 200 pages at least per day, but I thought that was very ambitious, and I'm gonna stress out and I'm gonna get overwhelmed at the end of the reading vlog, so I switched and I changed my mind. So we're gonna do a very chill, aesthetic, cozy reading vlog, a rather short one, to be honest. I'm trying to limit on the footage. I know I mentioned on the first reading vlogs that I ever did saying that I was afraid that I won't have enough footage, but turns out I have more than enough footage. So I'm trying to keep it short and sweet this time around. But that being said, I have around 20 minutes before we have to go make lunch, so I thought I would read for a second. This is the current read, The Witches of New York. I picked this up from my local library the other day and it's been going great. I am not even halfway through. I am that much into the book. There's nothing I can tell you yet, but the writing style is a bit hard, in my opinion, to get into and to immerse myself in the world. But the author does a very great job at setting the scene and introducing 2 different characters. There are lots of different characters that we're following in the book. I think there are 3 protagonists in the book and they're all witches. So I'm very intrigued. But yeah, we will be sitting here and reading for a second of this book, and then I'll check back with you. Okay, it is a lot later, and I just had an update that I wanted to give you in terms of The Witches of New York, which is what I'm reading. I just sat down to take some notes, and I thought that this book is a very interesting novel and fiction almost. It is a fiction, but it's not really a fiction because it is a reflection also of society, particularly New York in the 1880s or the 1800s when scientific advancements are happening, but also discrimination and segregation in terms of mindsets and everything, particularly discrimination towards women. And there were lots of mentions of the Salem witch trials and how women were being actively sought after, and if they were thought to be witches, they were then hanged, but also tortured. There is this one instance of a preacher, and he is a preacher and he believes in Christianity and gods and everything, but he has this inclination of torturing women who were thought to be witches, and he thought that he was doing the right thing and that the Lord should be proud of him. In one instance, he tortures this woman through her suicidal attempt and her unaliving herself, but he felt no remorse, he felt no grief, he felt no sadness, he only felt joy and pride. That was so sick, in my opinion, and that's just so twisted and bizarre, but I think there's some truth to that, so I appreciate this novel's attempt to depict those societal realness, and that's why I think it was a bit hard for me to get into, just because there were many instances where things were happening that felt very real, and in fact they were real. And also there's this mention of doctors and female patients and how doctors, especially male doctors, had this notion of not believing in their female patients, and because of that the doctors ended up mistreating their female patients and misdiagnosing their female patients because they thought that the female patients were just overreacting. But so because of that, it follows a lot of lives and lots of characters and lots of backgrounds. I think I need to make a map of all of the characters that were present in the book so that I could keep track of who is being talked and who is doing what, things like that. But so far so good. I highly recommend. just finished meeting with a professor. It was so good. And we are going back to the duplex now to study. But yeah, it was a very productive meeting. We talked about literature and our essay too. Okay, I just finished filming my YouTube video for my April monthly reading wrap-ups, and yeah, it's like that every single time I film, but I am glad that that's done. We finished lots of things today, and then I think I have a bit of time now that I can read, but I do need to take a break from all of the studying and running around and working and filming and... Hi, welcome back. I know it's a lot later. I just finished showering, as you can see, but I thought let's do some skincare and get unready with me while I tell you a bit about myself. Let's go. My name is Caroline and I am Vietnamese. I was born and raised in Vietnam, but I started studying abroad when I was 18. I am now 20 years old, almost 21. I will turn 21 this June. My birthday is on June 21st, so my fellows Geminis out there, hi. I am a biology major. I study biology in university, and I am a rising senior. That's very, very terrifying, by the way. One insecurity of mine is my skin and how I'm dealing with acne. I've been dealing with acne for the past 5 to 6 years, I can't remember, ever since I was in high school. It did definitely take a toll on my mental health and my self-esteem. I started going to therapy when I was a freshman in college, but I stopped this year just because schoolwork got very insane and I did not find the time to go to therapy. But if I were to find time and can make time, I would definitely go back to therapy. Although I'm not paid yet, I started doing content creation full-time, or at least I try to be full-time, I think 2 months ago, starting in March, and now it's May, so it's like officially 2 months of me posting. It's been my biggest dream to be able to produce content and upload videos and just create a community online. But because of my acne and everything and other problems of insecurities, I kind of hesitated and I convinced myself that I did not want to do content creation. So it's been a long time coming, but I finally gave in and I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna give this a try, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then at least I try, you know what I mean? At first, the first week of me posting, I only posted like 3 to 4 times a week, but then I quickly amped it up to like every single day, at least once per day, and now I try to have occasionally 2 videos per day. I feel like I have found a new hobby, which is books and just reading in general. I started seeing more growth, particularly this week, on both of my TikToks and my YouTube, so that's very fun. I don't do this for views and stuff, although I do want to eventually become a full-time and paid content creator and get paid to do that. But for now, you know, we're just having fun. And also, like I mentioned, it's been my biggest dreams to do content creation, yet I was afraid of doing it in the beginning. So doing this confirms to my past self and my inner child that I could do this. I started journaling this past month or so. My boyfriend bought me the Moleskine soft cover expanded version, which I loved. He just bought me another Paper Republic, which is a letter journal that's coming all the way from Austria, Vienna, Austria. So I'm extremely excited for that. My plans after graduation, we don't know yet. Long story short, I don't know what I want to do after graduation. I think that's gonna be the question for at least this summer. I know that my backup plan's gonna go PhD, but I do want to try out the corporate life. I want to get paid and have a steady income. Another biggest dreams of mine is to be able to make a steady income so that I can take care of my parents and my loved ones and my family and everything. I do want to at least try to apply to some companies and corporates this summer. Actually, I think the application open around August and goes all the way to December. I do want to be independent in terms of financially, and I don't want to rely on my parents anymore. They have been very supportive in paying my tuition for college and stuff, so I'm very grateful. After graduation, we would would definitely want to be building our own finances and stream of income. Even if I am to become a full-time content creator though, I do still want to apply part-time for a position in either an independent research lab or nonprofit organization because I truly am passionate about science. The presence of women, and especially women of color, in STEM fields are very important. My journey of study abroad has been very, very interesting. I learned a lot. I'm studying in the United States. I'm studying in a very small liberal arts education in the Midwest. This semester I'm taking molecular biology, organic chemistry, world literature, which I love world literature. We talked a lot about different pieces of literature. We talked about novellas, we talked about Tolstoy. I am taking a Greek mythology class next semester. So I'm trying to diversify my courses and really take an interdisciplinary approach to learning, and also just take a break from like the amount of biology and chemistry classes I take. The amount of upper level STEM courses is a lot. So I try to space things out. Next week is our finals. So I have 2 finals that I have to take. One for my organic chemistry and the other for my molecular biology. I'm also working as a tour guide on campus, and usually around this time of the year we have tours, but I don't know why they don't schedule me for tours tomorrow, which I'm glad. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to sleep in. We do have a lot of filming that needs to be done tomorrow. I finished filming my YouTube video for the monthly April wrap-up this afternoon actually, and that was fun. I started reading a lot more, and I'm glad that I was not in a reading slump after sort of Kaigen. Okay, now I will go blow dry my hair. We can put some hair oil in, and then I'll catch you in a second. Hi guys, I just finished blow drying my hair and doing my skincare, so my hair is very shiny. We are reading for a second. I do want to continue reading The Witches of New York, and also I think I will be getting a start on editing the video for tomorrow, or at least I want to get the thumbnail done. Hi, good morning guys. It is Saturday morning and I am currently sitting here editing the YouTube video that's gonna go live next week. It is a monthly wrap up for the month of April. I read 12 books, that's a spoiler, and I DNF 1 book, so that's gonna be up next week. So I'm currently doing that. I'm actually pretty glad that I did not talk as much as I normally would yesterday when I was recording that video, so only the footage was about 30 minutes, so that's not too bad. So I think I could get this done. It is a very busy weekend for me, so I hope that I could get at least most of the stuff done, and then if we have time we will be reading, but I don't think I can read much today. But you know, I'll take you along to see a realistic version of a reader, but during finals week. I hope you enjoy, and check back in a second. Okay, I'm gonna show you a sneak peek of next week's intro. At least that's what I am done editing for now. Oh my god. Oh. I read 12 books last month. Let's talk about it. Actually, we're moving that just because it's gonna fall. Okay. Oh, just like I mentioned, it's gonna fall. Hi, welcome back if you're new. How are you doing? Welcome back to another... That's it. I haven't edited the other stuff, but stay tuned. Hi, it is a lot later. I just finished lunch and I thought I would give you a bit of a reading update of The Witches of New York. I am over halfway done with the book already. I am on page 258, I think. I ended up reading a big chunk of this book last night. It was so good. I was very much immersed, and I feel like it is such a complicated and layered read. But one thing that I do want to say is that I'm getting kind of lost in terms of keeping track of the characters. I know that the author tries to follow a bunch of characters at the same time, but that makes it very hard for me to keep track and knows who is talking, what's happening, things like that. Although we only have 3 main protagonists, but all of the side characters have their own little section, have their own little story going on, and I think I will be able to finish it tomorrow, hopefully. hopefully, I don't want to sound too ambitious, but hopefully we can finish this soon. And then we can start with Pride and Prejudice and then eventually Stephen King. Now I think I will be sitting here and then editing. My laptop's there and we're still not finished in terms of editing the video. Okay, I just finished journaling for the day and I thought I would show you a journal flip through because I've been really satisfied with how my journal looks. So here we go. Once again, this is the moleskin and look, it's gotten so thick because I put all sorts of arts and crafts in there. But this is the front page. I actually filmed a journal ASMR with me decorating this whole page and that should be up on my TikTok real soon. So if you're interested, go give it a watch. But I think it looks very me and very beautiful. This is the second page and I just love that little sticker that I put there and then I put my name on it. And then at the beginning I kept it very simple and plain without any stickers and stuff because I still enjoy the look of just full-on text and no stickers. But then I started putting on more stickers over here. As you can see, I put a little sticker of when I went to Vietnam. I kind of first experimented with putting just a couple of stickers and washi tapes here and there with little doodles and stuff, and then I quickly improved to bigger stickers, and then that doll looked beautiful, more stickers, and then this is my first ever full-on arts and crafts page. And then this is another page that I experimented with the cutouts and the tearing up the pages of scrap paper of that sticker. It reminds me of me and my boyfriend. And then this is another kind of half a page spread, which I love, although this window is a bit crooked, but it's fine. And then I kept it simple for the next couple of pages. And then this is my first 2-page spread. And I got very creative with the spread. And this is, I listed down the things that I've been grateful for. And I just love, especially this scrap paper that I use. It's blooming and withering, which I thought was excellent and very on theme. This is another one of those 2-page spread. I kept this one very simple with only that celebrate life sticker with little scrap papers sprinkled throughout the pages. I originally intended this to be kind of this half a page and then the other half on the other page kind of spread, but I ran out of spaces, so I have to do it on different sides of the paper. But you know, it's fine, it still turned out beautiful. And then last night, or at least this afternoon, this is another kind of sticker spread that I had, and then I kind of alternated between, you know, stickers and no sticker with full-on text like today, and then occasionally I would do like a whole page or half page spread, or even like a divider like this, which is very cool. But yeah, because of all the art and craft, it's gotten very thick, but I'm actually enjoying that. But I just wish that it's gonna flatten out a bit because it looks very bulky, as you can see if I don't hold it like that. But yeah, that's my little very intimate and personal journal. I actually will be reading for a second. My goal is to try to finish this book tomorrow. I am on page 258 already, so a little bit more over halfway, as you can see. And so hopefully I can finish this tomorrow, and then we will pick out another book together. But yeah, good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay guys, I finished editing the video. It took me an entire morning to edit the video and I am now exporting. So stay tuned for this week's episode on my YouTube channel as always. But yeah, hope you're excited, and yeah, that's what I've been doing the entire morning, so I didn't get to read, but anyway, it's fine. Hi, it's been a couple of days and I have not talked to you since the last time that I spoke to you. But I have an update in terms of The Witches of New York. I am almost done with this book. I am on page 444. Oh my god, angel number, look at that. And I think I can finish this book today. So far, it's been very interesting. I thought that this is gonna be a cozy, mystical, magical read, but turns out it's more dark than I thought. I don't know how I feel about this book. On one hand, I'm like, okay, I like this book and where it's going, but on the other hand, I'm like, I don't know if this is what I signed up for. We follow three main protagonists, I want to say. We have Eleanor St. Clair, Adelaide Tom, and we have Beatrix June. Beatrix June is the main female protagonist in my opinion. She's just a normal, ordinary girl from the outskirts of New York. She grew up to always wonder if magic was real or not. But when she turned, I think 17 or 18 or whatever that is, she decided to move to New York, central New York, and pick up a job at this tea and sympathy shop. So basically a tea shop, and that tea shop is run by Eleanor and Adelaide, and they're both witches. So Eleanor is the more witchier of the two, and Adelaide's kind of this fortune teller, tarot reader, things like that. And then when Beatrix gets to this tea shop, many of the magical and unprecedented things start happening. She found out that Beatrix is a witch, and so she had this very unique ability to communicate with ghosts. There's this doctor named Dr. Quinn Brody. He is kind of this alienist. He's a doctor, but he also believes in these supernatural beings and supernatural forces, if you will, and he's conducting his science of ghosts and the science of the other world, if you will. And he invites Beatrix to be their kind of example of portraying that the ability to communicate with ghosts and the supernatural ability is actually real. And then there's this kind of preacher that I mentioned from the previous clip that I talked to you. He's this very, I would say, evil person, even though he claims that he's righteous, but he just goes around hunting down women that he thinks that's a witch. And Beatrix in the recent events has fallen into his trap, and he has now abducted her, and then she's being tortured and things like that. And so that turn I did not expect, because I thought, like I mentioned, it's gonna be a very cozy read, but turns out it's darker than I thought. But it's fine, you know what I mean, it's tolerable, it's manageable, and I feel like it adds another layer and depth to the story. But I'm intrigued, and I'm here for the ride, and I think she's gonna get out and she's gonna escape. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna spoil anything out, even though I've spoiled some things. But if you're interested, I would recommend this. I will be finishing this book today, and I will be back maybe later in the evening or tomorrow morning to report back on my reading experience. I'm not going to be giving a rating in this video. If you want to see a rating, then go over my TikTok, just because I feel like if I include the rating, it's going to be a 1 hour long video, and we're trying to be short and concise here on this channel so that future me, when I'm editing this video, not going to suffer. And then maybe we'll pick up Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'll check back in a second. I finished reading The Witches of New York, and I will give you a catch up later, but that was a ride. That definitely was a ride, and I enjoyed that. Okay guys, I just got back from all of the work and all of the studies and everything, meetings that I had to do today, and look what just came in the mail. My new Paper Republic journal, and I just did my setup of the journal. If you want to see me unbox this monster, then head over to my TikTok. I did an entire unboxing. You cannot even imagine how happy I am. It's like a perfect day to me. I know this is gonna be a little rant, but I just feel like I need to talk about today, because we need to look back on this day and feel like I am the luckiest girl in the entire world. In this Chestnut Grand Voyager XL, I have, if you open it, I have the first thing that is the card and cash money holder, and then my random commonplace notebook, and then this is my giant of a moleskin. It is very thick, but it's fine. It's fine. That means that I cannot put in any other notebook, but it did come with the 3 of the notebook refills that I put in this little box. So it comes with actually 4. This is what it comes with. This is just a plain notebook. This is the 2 dotted notebook small refills that it comes with, and then this is the book refills that's edged in gold, which is so fancy. But I don't think I'm gonna use these for now. Quite thick already. I tried putting in one of the smaller refills, but it just did not work. But anyway, let me tell you about my day today. It's a hectic day, and I don't think this is gonna be a kind of a reading vlog per se, but hear me out. So I heard news from my professor about the summer research position, and apparently I got in. So that was so excited. And then I got this. Obviously this is the highlight of my day, right? So I got the package in from Paper Republic, and then I also got apparently received the scholarship for outstanding academic performance for my school as a junior biology major. I was like, I did not see that coming. I don't know why today is so special, but I'm gonna remember this day for the rest of my life. You know, after this entire incident of 2 weeks ago on Friday or something, that I broke down in the middle of my chemistry class, and I felt like life is just falling apart. Life is falling together and not apart, which I'm so excited. But yeah, life's good. I finished this morning, and I highly recommend this book. I think it's gonna be a 4.25 or 4 stars. I'm still not sure which rating I'm gonna give it, but I think the author did a great job at writing the story in a way that it's unpredictable. I would recommend, even if you don't read it now immediately, I would recommend you to put this on your spooky season TBR. Very, very, very amazing start to the reading vlog. I'm trying to finish Upcoming World. Haven't picked this up today just because it's a hectic day for me, and hopefully I can get until page 110 or 120 today. That's the update so far. I will see you when I next read and then give you another reading update, but perfect day in my opinion. Good morning everybody, it is Wednesday morning and I am running late to class as always, but it's been a while since I talked to you, so I thought I would give you a bit of an update from the clip we picked up on Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous last night, just because I feel like for me to read Our Coming World at night when my brain was just not waking up is not an ideal thing to do. So I opted for something easier to read, but I wouldn't say it's lighter, because so far I'm almost crying reading that book. Okay, hi guys. I know it's been a couple of hours or even a couple of days since I last spoke to you. This is a very, very chaotic reading vlog. I apologize. But I finished school early and I got done with everything for the day, and so I just have been reading On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong for the past an hour and a half. I feel like I have been reading for 3 hours, but I just got to page 62 or something. 68. His book was so dense and heavy, but in a beautiful and very poetic way. I don't know how to explain it. And his prose was very beautiful with lots of simile and lots of metaphors, and the imagery was crazy dense, but the topics it covered are very heavy. It talks about how the first generation of Vietnamese American people migrating from Vietnam, escaping the war to the US, grows up and matures, and how the relationship between the mother and the son, or even within a family that survives the war, and the effect of the PTSD and how that trickled down to other generation. And I don't know how I feel about this book for now, because okay, on one hand I like the prose and I feel like it adds such a beautiful and literary touch to the book, or the novel, or the letter. This is actually formatted in a letter from Ocean Vuong to his mother, so it's like a letter from the son to the mother. This is the first book that I've read that is so heavy with prose and just poetic and literary similes, all those literary devices so dense and packed into each and every single one of the sentences that I feel being alienated from the book itself at some point, just because I feel like I don't fully get all of the similes and the metaphors that he uses. Because of that, I don't think I'm enjoying this book as much as I would like to. The first, I feel like 20 pages were so good and relatable, and throughout the books I found so many quotes and so many of the little short stories that just hits home, and I don't know, it's closer to home than I thought. And hearing him, I don't know, relate back to his mother's stories of growing up in Vietnam, even his grandmother's stories of being in a war and then escaping and fleeing to America, was so novel but relatable. I don't know, it's such a weird feeling. I would say that this book is not going to be for everyone, even for me, who I would consider a pretty well versed in the history of my country, especially the wartime. I still feel so confused at some point during the book that I just had to take a step back and do some research, just because I'm also writing an essay about migration. It's Exit West by Muhsin Hamid. It also dives into the effects of war and violence, and how war and violence and migration in general can change and affect a person's identities. And this is exactly that, but in an Asian Vietnamese version of it, which I thought was so interesting. I don't know if I would recommend this book. I would say this is a maybe. If you are Vietnamese, or if you're somebody who wants to learn about war, Vietnam War, from a Vietnamese American context and perspective, then I would recommend. But keep in mind, these are heavy topics. I had to take a step back. That's a very long awaited update. I think I will be sitting here and trying to get at least to page 100. We'll see if we can do that. But if it's too heavy for me, then I might take a break. I'm still working my way through Our Coming World, but for now, I just decided to pick this up. I don't know if this is going to be a good choice or not, because this is even more heavy. I don't know how I feel, but yeah, if you've read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, let me know. I feel like I am intrigued by his writing style, and I am interested in reading other novels and at least works of him. I just came across this beautiful quote. Listen to this. A new immigrant within 2 years will come to know that the salon is, in the end, a place where dreams become the calcified knowledge of what it means to be awake in American bones, with or without citizenship, aching, toxic, and underpaid. I don't know, this just hits so close to home. How people are forced to do things that they don't want to do, but they have to do regardless, just to get by. Even though the people who flee from Vietnam to America, they usually worked in nail salons, and they have to inhale and exhale the toxins that eventually damage their liver, their lungs, and their health, their hands. They all choose to do it, and this story is especially beautiful just because when they came to America with the idea of the American dream in mind, they thought that they're not going to stay at this salon for long. They thought that they're going to get the real job soon. Quote, more often than not, sometimes within months, even weeks, we will walk back into the shop, heads lowered, our manicure drills inside paper bags tucked under our arms, and ask for our jobs again. And often the owner, out of pity or understanding or both, will simply nod at an empty desk. For there is always an empty desk, because no one stays long enough and someone is always just gone, because there are no salaries, no healthcare or contracts, the body being the only material to work with and work from. We will do this for decades until our lungs can no longer breathe without swelling, our livers hardening with chemicals, our joints brittle and inflamed from arthritis, stringing together a kind of life. That is just so heartbreakingly beautiful. If I can convince you to read this book from one passage, then let it be that. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning, and it's been a while since I talked to you, as always, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an update before I go to work and I have a study session done. It is a very busy weekend for me. I have my chemistry exam tomorrow at 1 p.m. That means that I have to go to the exam review session today at 1 p.m. as well. But a bit of an update on... Where's the book? Oh. A bit of an update on this book. I finished this book last night and it wrecked me. I didn't cry. It was not emotional in a sense that would make you cry, but it was this haunting, everlasting emotional and heaviness that you feel in your heart and deep at your core after you finish this book. Lots of topics, heavy topics in my opinion, like physical abuse, homosexuality, migration, we have war, we have PTSD. The topics that the author chooses to describe were very, very heavy and even gruesome and such detailed events, but he did so in such a poetic and prose-like way. Heavy on the imagery side, I could physically and visually picture the scenes that he was describing in front of my eyes. And then I am reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. After finishing On Earth Will Briefly Gorgeous, I had half a brain cell left, but I still decided to crack open Pride and Prejudice. I read, I think, the first chapter. I skipped the introduction because I wanted to return back to introduction after I finished this book just to see some discussion points and things like that. But I read the first chapter and it was fine. It was fine. It was a very abrupt change from On Earth Will Briefly Gorgeous to Pride and Prejudice. The writing was very much different, but I'm interested. I'm excited to continue, and it's gonna be a fun ride. This society is so weird. So like I'm a couple of pages into the second chapter, and to be quite frankly, the first chapter was quite hard to get into just because I went from a very poetic and prose like this more very, very formal and old English kind of way. It feels very British, which I like, but then it was hard to get into. One thing that I feel like speaks a lot about the society at the time was how the men were being compared to one another. First of all, by his looks, obviously. Second of all, by his finances. Third of all, how willing he is to dance with people and how willing he is to be very charismatic. There is this one person, his name is Mr. Darcy. He was resented because he only danced with one person and talked with only a couple of his own company, compared to another Mr. Bingley who danced with literally everybody and was very, very opening and willing to talk with people. People felt like because he didn't want to dance with other people that he was proud and even arrogant and even selfish, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know. I feel like even the men at the time also had their own set of etiquettes and manners that they had to follow. From watching, I don't know, Bridgerton or whatever other Regency Victorian TV shows, I thought that the men could pick and choose their own decisions and they were pretty free in terms of making their own decisions and not being judged by that. But from reading this couple pages, I feel like that's not necessarily the case, and they are also being judged and being scrutinized even more because they are these legible bachelors. That's the first update that I have. I'm gonna be sitting here and trying to finish a couple of other pages, and then we'll see if how I feel after that. But hi everybody, welcome back. It is Saturday afternoon. I finished the chemistry exam. I think it went well. I think I did okay. I was the first person to get out the exam room, so I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I don't know, but yeah, that's done. We're not gonna overthink about that. But I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on Pride and Prejudice. I am on chapter 12. It did take me a bit longer than I would like to run through and fly through the book. It was getting harder and harder to read just because I could not keep track of who was speaking, and so I had to reread it multiple times to figure out who is speaking, and that took a while. But I feel like I'm enjoying it. I feel like that's part of the process. It is a classic, so you know, it's like it's a given that you have to spend time with the books and stuff like that. Even though I'm still on chapter 12, I have fallen in love with Jane Austen's writing, and she's just so hilarious and she's so smart, articulate, and just has a humor to her that I resonate a lot with. So I have been really enjoying that. Yeah, I think I will end the vlog here, and because it's already been 2 hours of footage from what I exported or imported into my DaVinci Resolve, which is the program that I use for editing videos. So I'm gonna say goodbye to you for now, and hopefully I'll see you next week with another video. But I hope you enjoyed this very chaotic, very messy, but very realistic reading vlog. But I wish you a beautiful weekend and a beautiful day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you very soon with another reading vlog or reading video. Bye bye.